So I'm pushing at the top and then the bottom. Now the top. Now the bottom. Now the top. And there it goes. Okay. Now there's a certain place where I put that. I'll show you that in a minute. Okay. You know what? There's not that much light in here, but I think that's enough for you. The sun is fastly going down, and I gotta get in gear here. Okay, so I'm gonna pull it back a little bit, because remember I want 1 5/8 at the bottom, and I'm pretty. Oops. So I check both sides first, like there. Then I just take a quick see up here. I'm at 1 1/8. And this side looks like just a little bit more than 1 1/8. So if I do it right there, okay, I'm going to just concentrate on one thing at a time. I'm right there at 1 5/8. Got my screw right here. And I'm using 1 5/8 screws as well. Okay, so I pull that out, and that looks pretty good. Double check and make sure you're not on 1 3/8 or something, or 1 7/8, and it's not moved, so I can hold it. Do it with my left hand here. Kind of tricky to do if you're not left-handed. I'm not. Now I can kind of hold this with my hand. I look up here, I'm close to 1 1/8. I'm about 1 3/16. I can check that again. I'm right there at 1 1/8. I can push on that just a hair. Okay. That I'm right at, wow, close to 1 1/8, just a hair more. And so if I can't push that over, let's say I was a little bit more, I can put it in at an angle like that. I would take my scratch awl, put it in the hole, and kind of tweak it like that, and hold it up there and put this in at a slight angle. Now, depending how much you have to push it over, if I was at 1 1/4, 1 5/16, I'd have to put it in at more of an angle, you see. But it was only a little bit. Now I'm checking that. I'm right, kaboom, at 1 1/8. I'm fine. And I can check my square right here, 27 5/8. 27 3/4. That's pretty close. I'm only 1/8 of an inch off, and this looks all tight. There's not much I can do about that. I'm going to leave it. Put this up tight. I've got it dimpled into that, but see, if I look at this, oh wow, that's almost straight. Sometimes they're dipped. That looks nice. That looks nice and straight right there. Wow, that went up good. I've got my insulation here, weather stripping. It doesn't really do a whole lot, but hey, I got it, so let's use it. Okay. Make sure it doesn't stick out, come out here. Just pull it. You don't have to measure it and cut it. Just eyeball that thing, hold it there, put your finger there and rip it off. Shove it in there. I got a little bit of extra. It looks like this side's tighter or a lot more gap there, so I'm going to put the rest of it right there. This side's just a hair lower. You can only do so much. If they didn't square this up, I can see it's off at the back a little bit, but hey, you do the best you can with what you've got. Okay, what's next? Now here's the next thing you're going to do. You're going to put caulking on this. And the only place you're going to put caulking is on the right side, on the top, and on the left side. Okay? You're not going to put it on the bottom. I tried that one time when I put it on the bottom because this is flexing a little bit. You put it on there and you fill it up, you got it just right. Then when you put the insert on here, you got the weight on here, and it pushes this down and it crinkles that caulking, then you have to redo it. So I always do this last. I do this after I put the insert in. Okay, does that make sense? So I just get myself some white caulking and I look at all this and I see that this top trim could be pulled down. If I had a finish nail, I could put a finish nail in there, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it and I'm going to put caulking right on the joint over here that's loose. This one's got just a hair of a gap. Because if I put nails, then I gotta fill those up. I gotta find some finished nails, set those with a nail set, and then sometimes you can see the nails, and you're still gonna see these lines. Okay, so I'm gonna decide to just put caulking, a little thin bead over these lines. Okay, so that's my next step, is to caulk away. I got a new caulk tube here. I cut a fairly small hole, and it's kind of at a slight angle. And these you don't have to puncture. I'm using Alex Plus. You don't have to use this, but this is what I'm using, acrylic latex caulk plus silicone. It's paintable, but we're not going to paint it. And this one happens to be brilliant white, 35-year durability. That's what I use. You don't have to use that. You can get anything. And I usually will do the back side here first, and I have to make sure that my handle is turned the other way because I don't want that to hit the wall. And then I can hold it and I can bend it with my hand if I have to get it up in there. And I do a little bit extra. There's a hole, a screw hole right there, and I don't usually do that one because obviously I'm right up against the wall. Okay, I can wet my finger and wipe that. I've got excess and I can wipe it right on the inside of there. Nobody's ever going to see that. Clean off my tip. Look at that, and it looks fine. And I'm gonna do just some right up in here. Because they're gonna, even if I nail that, you're gonna see a line that I have to caulk. And now it's gone. Wipe the excess off there. Make sure your tip is angled in the right direction. You might have to wipe that off, and look at that. You just twist this where you need it. Okay? Because sometimes when you have that tight, this could be off, and the last thing you want is to caulk it without the angle at the right angle of the dangle. Some areas it looks like if you have to put a little bit more, go ahead and do that. Flick that off, wipe my finger, wipe it on there nice and even. See all that excess I have? I can just wipe it on the inside of that. Nobody's ever going to see that. And that looks actually pretty good right there. Got all that. Got just a little up in here. Hardly anything, but hey, it was like that before. That's okay. I'm fixing it and it's fixed. Okay. So now I got to do this bead right here. Make sure my angle's right. There's a little bit more I need right there, so I just leave the gun right there, wet my finger, wipe down the same angle, curve it there, and kaboom. That looks pretty darn good right there. Okay. That's all I'm going to do. Okay, and see, there's a screw hole right there. Once I put the insert in, I'm going to put that screw back in there. So I want to make sure I don't have any caulking in there. I can take my tiny screwdriver, my eensy beensy little tiny screwdriver, and put in there. Okay, I'm done with the caulking on that one. Ready for the next one.